but you must never, ever, ever change any words in an author's work, ever, or a playwright. Just leave it. It's not right, it's thuggish, it's sinister, and it's censorship.
Welcome to the Showbiz Showdown. I'm JJ Anisiobi, and this is the program where we take the most controversial topics of the week and we debate them. Helping me do that today on the panel, in the red corner, she is ready for a fight. It is Afua Hagan. And in the blue corner, a man who needs no introduction, but I'll give him one anyway. talkTV legend, Kevin O'Sullivan. So, today's big question, is woke culture and the snowflake brigade ruining our entertainment? I only ask because Roald Dahl's children's books are being rewritten. You can't call someone ugly and beastly, just beastly. And you can't call someone fat, they've got to be enormous instead. I think it's nonsense, but apparently this makes the books more palatable for kids. I don't think little Johnny at home is saying, Daddy, the word ugly, not palatable for me, please change the word. I just don't believe it. But even the king's consort, Queen Camilla waded into it, saying to a group of authors, just be yourself, don't let these snowflakes weigh you down, bro. I'm not even paraphrasing, she pretty much said it word for word like that.
Don't let the snowflakes weigh you down, bro.
Use your imagination, you be you. I'm basically saying what she said.
She go like this as well.
She did that also. That's basically what Camilla said. So that is the question. Are snowflakes and woke culture, are they ruining our entertainment? Kevin O'Sullivan, in the blue corner.
Well, they're in danger of doing that because what's happened with Roald Dahl, by the way, the cleverest thing that guy ever did in order to make himself seem more interesting was to take the N out of his first name.
Is that a true story?
There's Roald Dahl.
Really?
That's a lie.
You got me. It's like, wow, tell me more.
No, but what's happening with his books, this rewrite, and by the way, who did the rewrite? Who do they employ to rewrite great works of fiction? Great works of literature. Who are they going to do next? Shakespeare? And who will do that? But what they're doing is it's quite literally Orwellian. I mean, it is right out of the pages of 1984, in which the ethos is if you control the language, you control the people. Mm-hmm. So the Ministry of War said, war is peace, love is hate. And the people came to believe that. And therefore you change the language, you change literally the way people think. And that is kind of what's going on here. And it must be resisted at all costs. And the level to which they descended in the amending of Roald Dahl's books was absolutely ridiculous. The removal of the words black and white. Well, what do you call something if it's black? What do you call something if it's white, if you're not allowed to use those words? It's utterly absurd and it has to be stopped.
So what about things like they said in one of the books, a weird African language? That's been taken out. It's no longer classed as weird, it's just an African language. Afua?
Okay, so I think there's two things that are happening here. I think one, you're in danger of changing the meaning of Roald Dahl's words with some of these rewrites. I'm not saying that all the rewrites are terrible, and actually I think sometimes there's nothing wrong with changing some of the language so it can be more palatable. I've read lots of Roald Dahl stories to my daughter. I kind of would skip over certain things when I was reading them to her when she was younger because I don't necessarily want her to be running around the playground shouting, "You're ugly and stupid." But I think I know there's been one bit where they've changed, I think it's in The Witches, they've changed a reference to some of the women being supermarket cashiers and now they're scientists. Yeah. And there's absolutely no need for that because there's nothing wrong with being a supermarket cashier. I think the overtone there is that, you must be a scientist, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher. It's like African parents, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But in fact, there's nothing wrong with being a supermarket cashier at all, so you don't need to change that. I think some of the rewriting is unnecessary, and it seems to be an individual person putting their influence into Roald Dahl's stories, but it's not their story, it's Roald Dahl's story. In his story, that particular witch was a cashier. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. The other rewrites, I mean, if they want to make the books more palatable so that people feel more comfortable when they're reading them or reading them to their children, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. But what I do have a problem with is, like I said, that instance of it feels like you're changing Roald Dahl's stories just because you don't like it.
But write new children's books that are palatable. Let Roald Dahl's books fade away if indeed they're not palatable. I suspect they're very palatable to kids. This is adults deciding, oh, some of these themes are not right for children. Children love them. Children go around calling people ugly and fat all the time. Yeah. This is adults kind of imposing their value system on kids. Let Roald Dahl, if he's not palatable to kids, just fade away. I'll tell you what will happen. He won't, because he'll continue to be popular. And there's another problem with Roald Dahl. Why are they picking on Roald Dahl? Because he's a questionable character in his own personal life. He wasn't a particularly nice guy. He was an anti-Semite. He beat the crap out of his wife, and so on and so forth. So that's why he finds himself in the spotlight of this woke insanity. But you must never, ever, ever change any words in an author's work. Ever, or a playwright. Just leave it. It's not right. It's thuggish, it's sinister, and it's censorship.
Kevin, I'm sorry that kids are calling you fat and ugly in the playground. However, Michael Bolner...
That's all right, I hit them. I beat them up.
Good, you showed them. Michael Bolner is the actor that played Augustus Gloop, the fat Austrian kid who loved chocolate. He has commented on this and
Enormous.
Said... Enormous, sorry. Sorry, fatty. Oh, I mean, sorry, enormous.
Sorry. Complimentary either, is it?
God.
Enormous.
No, it's not.
I actually kind of think enormous is even worse.
It's worse.
Yes,
But
right?
listen,
so
even bigger.
Michael Bolner has said, down here in Bavaria, we are used to people making jokes at us a little. And we are kind of very well known for being very fond of all our traditional food, and that's okay. So from my point of view, it is really fine, I think. Fine with the book and story, and I definitely don't think it has to be written at all. Well said, fat boy. Well said.
Enormous boy.
Now let's move on a little bit. Let's widen this out. Because it's not just books that are being rewritten, of course. There are some TV shows that I think are more than questionable. TV shows that are damn right offensive, and I love them. They're hilarious. South Park, Family Guy, In Betweeners. Would you think they should be rewritten now?
The thing with something like South Park, and I've talked about South Park so much recently.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
For ages.
I wish they'd never done that royal sketch.
I think the thing with something like South Park is South Park has made its name being in that genre of just taking down absolutely everyone. And it's the kind of sense that if you've made it onto South Park, you've made it. The thing about South Park is it's not discriminatory, as in it will take down absolutely anyone and anything.
Well,
it does
what about the In-Betweeners then?
Across the board.
What about the In-Betweeners? They did very well.
I just don't think the In-Betweeners is funny at all. Just don't get it.
I do.
I think it's hilarious. Yes, it is hilarious. Jay, and all his funny stories.
Yeah.
When he's doing stuff to women and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Just switch it off.
I'll show you a clip at the end of this.
Please don't. Please don't.
But there are some shows, of course, where they've been altered. Come Fly With Me and Little Britain both had their stereotypes in there. They're people in blackface.
That shocks me that was even on television. That nobody at any of the production companies or the TV channel where that was broadcast thought it was okay to put people in blackface on TV in the early 2000s.
Humour is a taste thing. So I absolutely agree with you. Because I was a TV critic in those days, I used to watch this and think, this stuff's pretty anachronistic. I can remember my mum sitting down to watch the black and white minstrel show, which, by the way, is the least likely programme ever to be revived.
Least likely, not impossible. But
not impossible. No, it is actually impossible. But what I've felt those two shows with Williams and Lucas were very anachronistic. And for me, it was like attending a funeral. Those two never even once made me smile.
Yeah.
But the nation loved them. Yeah,
because
the nation loved them. I don't know why, but they did.
Because they're mostly idiots. But let's move on to films.
That's true.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But there is one scene.
Yeah, and I know the scene.
So he's kissed and slept to this really attractive woman who works for the police. Then he finds out that actually the woman used to be a man. and Ace Ventura starts vomiting. All the men who've slept together start vomiting. Ace Ventura goes and has a shower, covers it up in bleach, he's trying to stretch, he feels so dirty from it. Would you think that's offensive? Would you rewrite that?
It is a bit, isn't it?
The thing is, at the time, these things got through and you're watching them and you're thinking, it's a bit uncomfortable, and you're watching it and you're laughing, but now you couldn't even write it in a writer's room. It wouldn't even get on film.
But it's funny now because you think, oh my God, that was in a movie. You know, that's what makes it hilarious, because it's a sign of the times. I mean, people just didn't think the way that we do now in those days.
Well, it might be banned now, I guess, that scene, but we're going to show it you right now. Have a look.
If the lieutenant is indeed a woman, as she claims to be, then, my friend, she is suffering from the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen! That's why Roger Podacter is dead! He found Captain Winky!
Okay, another film, Teen Wolf, personal favourite of mine.
I actually love Teen Wolf.
Now, in this scene, they use the F word, we'll call it, to describe someone as being gay. It's very offensive, but have a look.
Wait a minute, are you going to tell me you're a I mean, if you're going to tell me you're a I don't think I can handle it. Oh, I'm not a I'm a werewolf.
Right, is it okay to have that in the film?
Well,
Should we
no.
rewrite that script?
Well, I don't think it's about going back and rewriting things. It's
it's
awful,
okay
though,
for
isn't it?
Roald Dahl, but it's not okay for Teen Wolf.
That story was a lie. It's Roald Dahl.
No, but we've got a new name.
We've got a new name for him now.
It's terrible what they've done to the works of Roald Dahl.
So you wouldn't alter the scene and have the F word taken out?
Maybe just take it out.
Would you delete it?
Yeah.
But kids in those days, in the 80s, that's what they were saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's okay, though.
But it's
Just
a bit
because
like-
we're saying it doesn't mean it's right.
It's like Agatha Christie's book, 10 Little N-Words.
Yes. Which I've never heard about it
They
until
changed the name of that. But frankly, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. My feeling is you don't change the name, because that's what the author called the book. You let it stew, you let it descend into the fate that it deserves. It's not compatible with today's thinking, so don't start changing it. Just consign it to the scrap heap of history.
So we should get rid of it then? Or
No, just leave it there.
But that is the most successful crime thriller of all time, apparently, so... You know.
That's
Yeah, so
grim.
the money's still rolling
Winner,
in.
quick chicken dinner.
But that is an awkward time. See, I mean, I don't believe in censorship at all, and I don't believe in altering the works of authors and playwrights at all. But, clearly I can see that there's a problem with a book called 10 Little N-Words, if you see what I mean.
Well, I've got one more film clip for you. This is
Okay.
American Pie, Jason Biggs in a scene, and he has a camera hidden so he can spy on a woman in a bedroom. Have a look.
No, you are just in time. Oh, this is incredible.
Oh my God. This is too much.
Oh, you see. Oh, there that goes. Oh, geez. God bless the internet.
Okay, now look, you might not like it, but that does happen. This is just art imitating life, isn't
Where
it?
does that happen?
In dorms. Listen, this is what kids get up to in college, isn't it?
What? What?
Where?
Great criminal stalking.
Criminal law, yes.
Criminal surveillance. Yeah.
You see this on people complain about Airbnbs sometimes, where they find a hidden
that's true.
camera in mirrors or whatever.
That is true.
So it does happen.
No, but film shouldn't be a manual of how to stalk and sexually harass women. Again, that should never
good
have
point,
even been in the film in the first place.
Wait. So you're saying film should never have anything that is real if it's something that's negative?
No. What I'm saying is a film shouldn't be an instruction manual for someone watching and, okay, I'm going to do what he did, place these cameras here so I know how to stalk a woman.
So how
that should never be in a film.
But part of that is...
Like an instruction manual.
But part of that is the film saying to the audience, look at this depraved behaviour that a horny teenage boy will go
but
to
it's
see a
not
naked
really,
woman.
though, is it? The problem with that, and again, I don't know what to say about scenes like this. I just think dump the film. Don't start altering the film. Just dump it people won't want to watch it because it's not really right. But what they're doing there is they're making the idea of sort of like spying on a woman, hilarious, impish and funny.
They're making it funny and not serious.
It was pretty funny.
Oh, look what they did.
But that's so funny though.
It was funny to watch
But
it.
this is the thing, they're doing it in a non-serious context. No, but Kevin's right. They're doing it in a context where it's funny, so people think it's okay, rather than doing a context
So we can't
when it's
ever,
serious and criminal.
we can't ever bring comedy to serious things. Is that what you're saying?
You can bring comedy
Your
to
world must be
serious
very
things.
boring,
No, my
Afua.
world is
Very
exciting,
dull,
thank you very
boring
much,
world you
as
live in.
very well know. There's nothing wrong with bringing comedy to serious situations, but there's
When you
also
say so, when
a
you pick
line,
it.
Exactly. There's also a line that you shouldn't cross, and I think American Pie crossed it in that instance.
All right, well, let's move on to music because you're wrong on films, but let's see if you do better with music.
Wrong.
So
She's wrong on films as she is on so many other topics.
Thank you so much. Don't even know why I'm here.
So here's some tracks that actually had the lyrics changed retrospectively. Both Lizzo and Beyonce last year, they both used the word spaz. I think I can say that, I'm not sure. They used the word spaz in their song.
You could say to say that shouldn't be in a pop
Yeah,
song.
it shouldn't be in a pop song, or should it?
No, it should never
No,
be there
I don't
in the
think
first
so,
place.
actually.
But they
No,
weren't using it to be derogatory about,
but
they weren't
my
being ableist, were they?
My problem is that both Lizzo and Beyonce and the people around them, the writers who were in the room, the producers, should have known that should not even be in the song in the first place.
They didn't realise it was quite so derogatory, and they didn't realise what it referred to, in fairness to them. They thought it was just a sort of general funny little put down that people use. So I don't think they did that because they're ableist. They did it because they didn't quite realise what the word meant. But now, ignorance is not a defence, but now that they know what the word is, I'm sure they don't approve of it.
Okay, well, let's fast forward to imagine it's Christmas time, you've turned on the radio, and that song comes on, Fairy Tale of New York. And it gets to that one line where they say, "You're cheap, lazy, F word," and they bleep it out. You're not fuming, you're not screaming at the radio. That's not how the song goes.
No, I love that song as well.
So you're okay with them editing the F word out?
Yeah, I am actually.
Kevin, please talk some sense here.
I think this should stay in, to be honest with you, because it's a story of its time. It's a story about someone in New York City using the language of the time in New York City, and I think that's an instance where to edit it out is just too prudish, too precious. Just let it ride. And again, if people don't like it, they won't listen to it. Let me tell you, if they left the F word in on all the radio stations, it would make no difference at all. That would continue to be an extremely popular Christmas song.
It is a bop, isn't it?
It is.
It's a bop.
100%.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, look, I know we've spoken about this. Essentially, it's cancel culture. So essentially what we're talking about.
Cancel culture doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
No,
well,
I don't think
well,
so
well,
anyway.
apparently it did, because BBC Radio banned Lucy in the Sky
cancelled
of
it, have you?
Diamonds. You've cancelled cancel culture?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Look, BBC Radio banned Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds by the Beatles because of its drug references. God Save the Queen by Sex Pistols.
Okay, sorry, let me just stop you there. So BBC banned Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles.
Yeah.
Did the Beatles as a band, were they cancelled? Did they lose any money?
No.
Did anyone lose their jobs? No, that's why cancel culture doesn't exist. They kept making
it
money
exists.
from their royalties
it
and from their
exists.
rights. That's why cancel culture doesn't
Of
exist.
course it exists.
You may continue.
It's
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Because I haven't really got any.
doesn't.
I can't really
It doesn't.
defend cancel culture, so I know what I'll do. I'll pretend it doesn't exist.
And that is the bell. So, in the blue corner, Kevin, is woke culture ruining our entertainment?
It's in danger of ruining our entertainment. Yes.
In the red corner, Afua, is woke culture ruining our entertainment?
No.
No, you don't think it is?
No.
Okay,
Not at
well,
all.
as I say every single episode, what they say doesn't matter. I have the final decision here. And Afua actually wins for the first time. We have a winner in the red corner.
Victory.
So, even though nothing you've said for the last half hour chimes with what Afua was saying,
Exactly.
you just completely said that just to say something different, to be contrary.
I genuinely don't think it is ruining our entertainment, because everyone is still making rude songs. We're still having cartoons that are offensive. We're still having films and movies that are offensive to some people. Someone's offended somewhere, and I don't care. I like The In-Betweeners, I like South Park, and I like Cardi B. But maybe you don't. Comment below and let us know what you think. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.